All right. Do you guys want me to review what we did Friday possibly first? So it's usually a topic that when you get, you're fine with, but it absolutely had a bunch of parts to it. So that's kind of why I thought maybe we should review before we move on to the last part of them almost. So let me put one up that would have been similar from Friday. We'll get out of there. So let's say our job here is to factor 2x squared plus 15x plus 7. All right. So this is a reminder of what we did Friday. So the first thing I do is I start off and I recognize that there is a number on the x squared. So because there's a number on the x squared, I have to do it a different method. And that method is multiplying the outer two numbers. So if I take the 2 and the 7, I multiply them to get 14. Now, whether you do this off on the side or wherever, you're going to write the factors that can multiply to get positive 14. Maybe I should have put the positive with it. There we go. So 14 can be 1 and 14, or negative 1 and negative 14. And you know what? Why don't I just put the plus with it? Let's see, 2 goes into 14, so we could have positive 2 and positive 7, or negative 2 times negative 7 would make 14 as well. And that's it. That's the only factors of 14 we have. And we want to find the one that adds up to 15. So plus 1 plus 14 makes positive 15. So 1 and 14 is our pair. Then what we are going to do is replace the 15 with 1 and 14. And the order you place them with doesn't matter. I could have put the 14 first, I could have put the 1 first. It's your choice. Once you have it split apart, the next step is to split this in half. And this is going to be factor by grouping. The first half, they each have an x going into them, and that's it. They don't have any numbers going into both of them. So I'm going to factor out an x. And factoring kind of means dividing. So 2x squared divided by x. Well, 2 divided by 1 is 2. X squared divided by x, I'm going to subtract a power. 1x divided by 1x, well, basically everything cancels and leaves a 1. Then I look at the second half. Well, the second half, they don't have any letters in common, but they do have a number. So 7 goes into 14 and goes into 7. So I'm going to divide them both by 7. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Now, each half has the same thing. So I'm going to write the common factor first. And then I'm going to write the uncommon factors in the second parentheses. So x and 7. And then this is factored. So this is what we did Friday. Basically, I wanted to remind us and refresh us on this because if you didn't know how to do this, today's would kind of be impossible. So I know I went through this a little bit quicker. Does somebody want me to go through one of these steps? Like possibly you can't remember why we did one of these steps type thing? Anything. I believe on Friday we wrote the steps down in our notes, but I didn't write them down today. Yep. Okay, so I know what you did. So you factored out 2x, like that. And then the second half had nothing in common. So what you do is you factor out a 1, like that. So if there's nothing in common to take out, you're going to write a 1. Yeah, no, it's good. You're right. We didn't have an example like that. I didn't even think of it. So you end up with the same final answer. Okay, then let's move to today's, which is basically the same thing. It has one little twist. And honestly, our notes today aren't going to take that long because our notes are virtually just like Friday's. The main part is it's important for you guys to practice the homework because that's where you're going to actually make sure you understand it. Okay. The one difference here is we have a negative symbol in the front. So virtually all of the problems we've been working on, all of our methods work best if there's no negatives on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just basically like, I don't want to say trick it, but like we're going to get rid of the negative and then do the rest of the problem without the negative. So I'm going to factor out a -1, and then I'm going to write the rest of the terms without the negative symbol. So this would become positive 3x squared. This would become positive 17 and positive 10. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do scratch work off on the side. And off on the side, I'm just going to do 3x squared plus 17x plus 10. And I'm going to factor that on its own. And then I'm going to write its answer over here. Carly, do you think you could tell me the first step in factoring this? So we've got a number on the x squared. Do you remember what we do first? Nope. I mean, you're not far apart. Do you have your notes from Friday in front of you? Because I think we wrote down the 7 steps on Friday. Sure. And while Carly's looking, oh, did you find it? So here, let me open it up quick and show you what I'm talking about. So on Friday, yeah. So on Friday, I think it was towards the last example, we wrote down the 7 steps that you factor when there's a number on the x squared. So first step is to multiply the outside numbers. And maybe you didn't get these written down or, whatever, I don't know. So I thought I would put these back up really quick in case if somebody didn't get a chance to write these down on Friday, You guys can take a screenshot of this and have these written down. So the only reason I even asked Carly about her notes is I know some of you guys kind of tend to forget that, like, all of our tests and quizzes this year are open note, open book, things like that. So if you guys have things written in your notes that would help you out, you know, let's do that. Okay, so first step is to multiply the outer numbers. So we are going to multiply 3 and 10, and we get positive 30. Okay? Oh, now we get hiccups. Once we multiply the outside two numbers, we want to find the factors of 30. So that would be 1 and 30, or negative 1 and negative 30, positive 2 and positive 15, or negative 2 and negative 15. 3 goes into it, so positive 3, positive 10, or negative 3, negative 10. 4 does not go into 30, but 5 does. So 5 and 6, and negative 5, negative 6, and we're done because 6 is the next number. Lorenzo, are you there? Do you remember how we decide which pair to pick? And if your mic doesn't work, Lorenzo, or anything like that, you can just type it in the chat too, you know. Hattie, do you remember how we choose which pair? Okay, perfect. So we want to find the pair that adds up to 17. So it looks like 2 and 15. Okay, 2 and 15. So now that we've found the right pair, Devin, what do we do with this pair that we picked? So like I decided 2 and 15 is the pair I am going to use. Perfect. So you're going to put the 2 and the 15 in place of 17. Okay, good. Very good. And then I'm going to split it in half. I mean, these absolutely go really slow. So that's kind of why we don't do many examples together, but they take time. The good thing is that the steps are always the same. Okay, so I split it in half. Decia, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the first half. Does 3x squared and 2x have anything in common, like multiplied into it? Or Olivia? Are you there, Olivia? Okay. Does 3x squared and 2x, do they have anything in common? Perfect, that's it. That's the only thing they have in common. They don't have any numbers, you know, going into both of them. So I'm going to take out a single x, and I'd be left with 3 and then 1x, and then 2 and no x's. Okay. How about the second half, Olivia? Do they have anything in common? Perfect. Yeah, they don't have any letters in common, but they do both have a positive 5. So then 15 divided by 5 would be 3. 10 divided by 5 would be 2. Okay, nicely done so far. Parker, how about you? Do you want to go next? Thank you, Olivia. That was good. Parker, what do we do after that step? Okay, good. Perfect, because that's basically the information that they don't have in common. Okay, good. So what we did was we took this 3x squared plus 17x plus 10 and we factored it into 3x plus 2 and x plus 5. So instead of writing this one parentheses, I'm going to write 3x plus 2 and x plus 5. And then that negative 1 kind of stays up front as a factor on its own. So the main difference between today and what we did Friday is that you kind of have to factor out a negative 1 first. That's literally the only difference. All of the other steps are the same. And they're not quick and they're not like super easy. But the good thing is that they'll at least always be the same order. Does somebody want me to go over something I wrote up here that you just don't get, like why I wrote up there or anything? And remember, if you guys don't want to ask something out loud, I do have that Padlet open. Oh, you know what? I didn't even put the link to the Padlet into the folder. I totally forgot to put the link in there. That could be why nobody's been using it. I'll have to do that tomorrow. Do you guys want me to put another problem up? And then we can just kind of go through that one together? I think that might be the best plan, yeah. Okay, maybe I should give you guys a couple minutes to try this on your own to see how far you can get on your own. And then we'll kind of do it together. I'll basically help you with the first step though. The first step, because there's a negative symbol, means I'm going to factor out negative 1, and then everything else becomes opposite. Your guys' job is to factor the inside of that parentheses. So why don't you guys take a couple minutes and see if you could do that on your own. Yes? Yeah, I wasn't saying anything. I was just writing stuff up there. But thank you. I was just kind of writing stuff up there. Don't forget to take attendance in Schoology if you haven't. You can do it whenever today. I mean, like, I shouldn't say whenever today. I usually take attendance when I come back from lunch, but it doesn't have to be this second. Do we have 2 Sams in this class? Because every day they're both listed like that. Sam Nasios, are you there? You guys are a bowl of fun today. It's Monday. You're not supposed to be dead on Monday. Rocio, do you think you could tell me how to start this? Because I have a feeling some of you guys are either done or you've done what you can do. How do we start? Okay, good. So I get 48. Oh, 48. That's going to have a ton of factors. Okay, so I need to write down the factors of 48 next. 224. 316. I think 16. 412. 5, 6. Oh, I guess it's not that many. Just seemed like there'd be a ton. Jeremy Corey, what do I do now that I've looked, now that I wrote down my factors? Okay, negative 16, but yes. Okay, did you find a pair? Okay, good. Negative 4 and negative 12 make negative 16. Okay, what do I do with those two numbers then? Perfect. Okay. So negative 4x, negative 12x. Okay. Good, we're well on our way. Ian, are you there? Okay. What do I do next? Okay. Perfect. That's a great way of saying it. Do they have anything in common? Yep, you're right. They don't have any numbers in common, so I'm going to take away 1x from both. Okay, good. Second half is a little bit more tricky, which is where I think some people might have accidentally made a mistake. But what numbers do they have in common? Or what number goes into both, I should say. Yeah, 2 does. 2 does. 4 is the biggest one. Yeah, 2 does though. You're right. So 4 is the biggest one. And then when I was trying to say, I bet some people got stuck on this part. Because the 12 is negative, we want to take out negative 4. So I'm going to divide both these by -4 to factor it out. So then this would become positive 3x. This will become -4. And then that way these two will match up. It's really easy to accidentally miss this negative sign. But good job, Ian. Caleb, where do I go from here? So where do I go from here? You need to shut off The Simpsons. Okay. Perfect. Very nice job. Yeah. I was doing them separate on the screen, but you're absolutely correct. The -1 that we took out first. And then the order you write these parentheses doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you put 3x minus 4 first or x minus 4. But nice, very nice. So this would be our final answer. Okay, so I can tell that some of you guys are, a little bit hesitant on some of the steps, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's definitely why I wanted to give you some time to practice them today. So you'll see the homework is not that long. I think it's like 7 questions. It's really important that you practice these because they have so many steps that practicing the steps is what helps you remember them. But don't forget, if you guys have really good notes, you absolutely can kind of use your notes to help guide you if you get stuck. So I guess I'm kind of done for today because I didn't want to take up too much of your time doing examples. Patrick, before I forget, don't leave yet. But otherwise, I'll be done for today, and I'll leave you guys about a half hour to work on your homework so you can probably be done before our class hour ends. And to let you guys know, we're not moving on to a new topic tomorrow. We're basically kind of reviewing the last 2 sections because they get a little bit complicated when you try to mix them together. So even if you're not feeling like you're fully getting this yet, that's definitely why we're still going to do it for like another day.